Hey, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners. This is your host, Altovise, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. And this episode is one that is near and dear to my heart because you guys know, as the introvert that I am, I got started being able to be comfortable in front of people through live streaming. So this particular conversation is going to be one you're going to tap into because video is still on the rise. It has not stopped, and it will continue to grow even more within the next few years. Audio and video are kind of like in this head-to-head battle for who's going to win the hearts of entrepreneurs everywhere. With that being said, I'm excited about my guest for today. Hello, Christoph. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining. Thanks for having me.
No worries. I'm excited to have you as a guest today. Let the studio audience know a little bit about you, and then we're going to dive into today's topic.
Yeah, so I'm a content marketer. I try to create experiences that make a difference in people's lives. Currently, I do that mostly for Vox Pop Me, a market research software platform. I also have authenticstorytelling.net. I'm really currently riding the live streaming your podcast bandwagon because it's just a fantastic way to connect with people. And it's kind of funny, I said thanks for joining. Just so used to being the host. Right? Thanks for joining me on my show. But I do appreciate you having me on yours. But I try to create content that makes a difference. That goes deeper than the typical marketing gobbledygook.
Oh, I love that. One of the things that we found over the years with video and live streaming, and now even audio, is that, listen, content is everything. You can create content from anything, but you gotta have the strategy. So let's talk about that as that foundational piece, the strategy of using video for business.
Well, you're absolutely correct. You always have to have a strategy to do anything. And I was just talking this weekend with Andy Stroud, who wrote the creative agency book that came out recently. And we're talking about, you have all these people creating content, right? You can hire somebody to create your video. You can hire somebody to write your article. But at the end of the day, it has to come back to, what are you trying to accomplish? Why are you trying to accomplish it? How does it all fit together? And, when I'm on my shows, I tie them all together. Somebody says something and I say, oh, so-and-so said this. What do you think about that? And I built the connection between all the different pieces of content. But you have to be very clear. What's your goal of your live streams? What's your goal of your videos? What are you trying to accomplish? And then go after that goal all the time. And, the way you do that is you have to share stuff that is actually worth consuming. And I think that's where some companies struggle. Why would I want to consume this crap, quite frankly, right? So you have to make it fun. You have to be personable. Especially on video, and audio too. Like, if we're not having fun, you and I on the show here, people will know, right? They're going to tune out if we're just like, if I'm stuck up or buttoned up, you got to make it fun, be human.
Exactly. Now, for those of you that do not know, maybe because you've been under a rock, I, Altovise, am an introvert. Hi, Altovise. Listen, I can tell you that for me, a moment of silence for Periscope and Blab and all of the live streaming platforms that are no longer with us. But I used to tell people, in order for me to get really comfortable with being on stages and doing the podcast and all of these things that I'm doing now, it started with me dealing with the trolls on the Periscope. And I think part of it was just saying I had to overcome the negative things that people may say. I had to overcome the naysayers. And so I know that that's always like top of the list for why people don't press that go live button. So what would you say to somebody they're saying, you know what, I know I need to use video for my business. I know I can do it. I know I kind of have the content, but it just is there something about the nervousness with pressing that button?
Well, first of all, you have to be in an environment where you're comfortable, right? So I'm sitting in this office and I haven't moved in the last 15 months. Thanks, COVID. Haha, but I mean, I've moved
Right?
some, but I've made sure my setup is comfortable to me, right? I like sitting here. I like how it works. I like how my mic is set up, whether it's video or not. So you want to make sure you are in a comfortable environment. That's number one. Number two is don't look for excuses why you can't do something. It's easier than ever. I think people are much more forgiving today than they were maybe even 2 years ago on what's okay to watch and what's not okay to watch. I used to do live streams walking around, and it was just me holding up my phone, and people watched it. It's much higher produced today, but that's how I started. So just something to keep in mind. You don't have to be perfect. Now, the other thing is, if you really, truly, honestly, 100% certainly don't want to do video, start with audio. It's easy enough. I've actually had this on my shows before. Like the guest, his video was lost, and basically I just put up an image, and he was still on the air, and I was on camera, and I could have turned my video off too, but mine worked. You can totally do an audio live stream to get started if video is the problem. If everything is the problem when it comes to your live, do a podcast first, right? Get used to talking talking to your audience, and just give it a try, and then kind of grow and build as you go.
And of course, the SpeakEasy podcast listeners are the best podcast audio listeners out in the world, because I value you guys so much. I love you guys. And so, talking to your audience, connecting with them, oh my goodness, so many different aspects to it. But one of the things that I've found is that once you get started, it's actually kind of fun. And that was interesting for me as an introvert, because a lot of people were like, no, I could never do that. And I'm like, no, I think you could. Because even as an introvert, when we do a live video, it's still just you in your bubble. Like, people can see you, but they're not in the room with you. And so it kind of gives you that comfort as well, which played into me really like enjoying myself when I was on camera, and being able to laugh. And listen, when Christoph just talked about go for it, just do it. Don't even try to kind of think about what, oh my goodness, but what may happen, and what if this happens? Listen, I've been live and my kids have set off the smoke alarm multiple times.
And that's okay. Just be human. And I'll give you an example. I was glad you were still talking, because my cat is running around me here and is messing with my light and messing with everything. And guess what? It's the world we're in. Let's roll with it. That doesn't mean we can't be human. And you're absolutely correct. Once you get into it, it's a lot of fun, for sure.
It is. And so many platforms have opened up. For those of you that don't know, even though Blab and Periscope are no longer here, we still have many other platforms that have opened up live streaming. You have LinkedIn, you have TikTok, you have audio through Clubhouse, and so many other platforms that are opened up. Then you even have LinkedIn, that where most people were like, oh no, that's a dry platform. But actually, the live streams on LinkedIn are doing very well. And for many of you, that's a great place for you to go and connect and network.
Exactly. And networks evolve all the time. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I'm also a big fan of Amazon. I stream a lot of my shows on there now. So if you can get approved on there, I would highly recommend it. But I like to stream everywhere, and that's what I would recommend that you do. Figure out, where do you have audiences, stream to all those audiences, and then also use the podcast version, because it doesn't take any extra work to put my podcast to one channel as opposed to 16 channels. The same is true for your live stream.
Exactly. And I have to tell you guys, Amazon Live is everything right now. If you have not tapped in to see what's going on over there, tap in. Go from your laptop, click on Amazon, and look where it says live stream. Go check out what they're doing over there. It's a great way for you to add another, revenue stream to your business. With that being said as well, Christoph, what would be a final word that you would want to tell the SpeakEasy audience when it comes to live streaming?
Don't look for excuses. Figure out what your content is. What are you going to talk about? And then get going and start. And I always recommend, starting on your own first, maybe for a couple episodes, but invite guests on the show. And I mean, think about this, right? We've been talking for 50 minutes, and I mean, the time just flew. It's like we're out of time. And that's what happens when you have a conversation. And I think anybody can have a conversation. I am also an introvert, and that doesn't mean I can't be on a live show. It just means I don't get energy from it, right? So if I do a couple of shows in a day, like I got to go take a nap, close the
Exactly.
door, put the sleeping mask on and close the windows. But at the end of the day, just get going, try new things, see what works, see what doesn't work, and try to make it a success.
Most definitely. That's the biggest thing, guys. Make it a success for you and your business. That is what is most valuable here. And man, live streaming is still the way to go. Audio is still the way to go. And of course, podcasting is the bee's knees, in case you didn't know. That's why you're here. With that being said, I appreciate you coming on and being a guest today. Christoph, let them know how they can reach out to you, where they can find you online. And also, if they're interested in trying to build up their strategy, they want to get on the phone with you and talk about that.
Well, certainly, Christoph Trappe. I'm very easy to Google. AuthenticStorytelling.net is my website if you want to check it out. Going live stream your podcast is the latest book on the topic. Lots of tips in there, and of course, feel free to connect and try to help as much as I can to help you get going.
I love it, guys. That's what it's about, having resources in your back pocket, in your Rolodex. I know I just dated myself. Don't judge me. So that way you have people to reach out to and make this happen. Guys, without the SpeakEasy podcast listeners, there'd be no show. So let us know how this episode resonated with you on your favorite podcasting platform. Leave us a review. And we look forward to seeing you with the next episode. I'm your host, Altovise. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.